Hey, how are you guys? Welcome to we don't know what episode
I think it's 27.
of Calls with I don't know, but
Somewhere in there, certainly in that range, 25 to 30. Certainly, we'd know if it was 30.
yeah. Well, here's what's going on. Ellis, come say hi. Ellis is homesick today, and so he's he's our tech assistant, rocking his Homesville shirt
Up here, buddy.
like the rest of the crew.
Yeah, double dap. Yeah.
This is what they look like when Advil is working.
Oh, is it where he got some?
He's clearly not, he doesn't look sick and doesn't act sick because he's got medicine on board. But he's our technician behind the scenes. So now you can go man the camera. Thank you.
If we have questions for you, we'll let you know. All right, buddy.
Yeah. So this is why we don't really know what episode it is. But
yeah,
today I thought it was interesting. The Austin Board of Realtors recently released the January stats. They're always a little bit behind. And so it told an interesting story about the market, and I thought we would dive into what that means and also some ways that people can navigate that. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what the market is in your experience, and then of course the number I'll plug in some stats.
We'll plug in some stats for me.
Yeah.
So right now what we have going on is we're really at the bottom of the hill as far as inventory goes for our season. And generally, like historically, like we're down to 2 months of inventory or homes available for buyers to purchase, which means that if we quit putting homes on the market in 2 months, we would be sold out. Nobody would ever be able to buy a home. So it puts it squarely inside of the seller's camp as far as who's in charge of the market. It becomes very difficult for people to move, people who maybe want to move up or move down, whether you're like in Boston and you're moving to Austin or.
Well, can we pause that for a second and go into the stats a little bit more?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, knock out the stats.
What that makes. So tell me a little bit about the price. Like, what's the average or median price of a home? And we're talking the city of Austin, not the Austin metro that includes all the suburbs like Round Rock and Leander.
Right.
What about the city of Austin?
Well, I don't have them memorized, but I think a little while ago for like since the beginning of the year, I think we're at like 308 from the beginning of the year. But if you look at
as an average,
yeah, like it's lower. But
what about year over year?
Because it's January. I didn't memorize that, but I did take a look at some in the loop.
Well, what would you like to share?
So I looked at the last 12 months of how In the Loop is doing. If you circle in like I-35 and 360, and you take a look at our central Austin area, we're like at 875 on average.
Well, I thought if you looked at the median, what the A-board number was, and I know that you don't always like.
I don't like median.
You don't like median because you can have one really high sale or one really low sale that sort of skews the numbers. But the median from A-board was around 385,000, which is a 13% increase year over year.
Yeah.
So year over year, we're seeing it continue to climb in Austin. The other thing I thought was interesting were the number of listings and what had sold. So there were 638 sold listings in January. 638 sold listings in our big city. That's not a very high number.
It's not many at all. Like the thing is, nobody's putting their home on the market.
Right, and that's up about 0.6, not even a full percentage point, 0.6 year over year from the year before. But the other thing that was interesting is that only 960 new listings hit the market, which is down 10% year over year. So we have sales going up, we've got prices going up, we have the number of new listings going down. You also had active listings was at 1,099, and that is 32% down.
That's a big drop.
Huge drop, again, going down. And then you had pending sales. We got Ellis is giving us some visuals in the background.
Ellis is acting it out.
Our pending sales were up 8% year over year to about 956. And days on market was 48, and that was down 8 days. So we've got homes are not staying on the market. Very few homes are coming on the market. Fewer homes than usual are on the market.
People are desperate for housing.
They're not staying on the market very long. Yep. And we're having more things actually go under contract.
Yep. And
they're selling for more money.
Right.
And all that means good for.
Well, it's good for sellers for sure. Like, it's tough sledding for buyers.
Really tough.
And for people who want to move up or move down, that becomes a lot more difficult.
Well, and that's what you were getting to. So, like, there are folks that have to move, right? They're moving here from another city for a job. They have to they may not have to buy a house, but they've got to have a place to live.
They need a roof and a bathroom, maybe some bedrooms, things like that.
And then there are those people I sort of think of as this sort of squeezed, chunky middle. They're people that don't necessarily have to move, but maybe they want to move.
We'd like to, like we have this giant house, and maybe we'd like a little smaller one. Or maybe we've outgrown and we've added an extra child and we need a bigger house. But we can make what we have work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
Well, and here's how that narrative goes in my mind, right? Like, okay, I don't have to move, but I'd like to move. But oh man, the market I read all these stats and the market's getting more and more expensive, and how am I going to afford it? And I've got a really good interest rate in my current house, and how am I going to afford a new house? I don't know if I can afford something that's better than what I'm going to go. Where are we going to go? Yeah. And my goodness, I don't want to have to sell my house and then move into like an apartment or a rent home while I take my time to find something, because now I'm not moving just once, I'm moving like 3 times.
Not to mention, like, where would Ellis go to school? He might end up going to not Dawson,
right.
Going somewhere else.
And then I'm like, well,
I don't want to move to a new place.
And of course he doesn't. And then I'm like, well, where in the world, how are we going to pay for this, right? Like, all my equity is tied up in our house.
Yeah.
How am I going to come up with a down payment for a new house? Or maybe, man, all these things aren't on the market for very long, and there's all these multiple offers, and that sounds like such a hassle. And it's hard to find a home because there's not a lot of things on the market. Just talking about it.
We have some answers for
well,
you, sweetheart.
But just talking about it wears me out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to move. I'm just going to stay. But you have answers?
Yeah, you have beautiful energy, though. I like watching you get excited about this stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us about how we used to do it.
Well, it used to be more cumbersome than it is today. The original way of doing it was if you could afford it, you just go buy your next home and then sell your old one. But you have to be able to qualify for that. You've got to have money to put down, all that good stuff. Most people, I'd say 9 out of 10, couldn't do that. Some folks were fortunate enough to have the ability to pull that off. So that's how people number 1 did it. People number 2 that couldn't afford that, they would sell their house. They'd move into some temporary housing, right? But lately, like an Airbnb, so that had been a little bit of a nice change for people, because you had that option instead of like a long-term rent situation. And then they go in and they buy when they find the right thing. But you're dealing with
my
leases.
Technician, can you quit rocking the table with the cameras on? Thank you.
You're dealing with a lot of stuff. Sorry for the rocking, those of you on the iPhone over there. But those are the 2 ways that we used to do it.
And are there still options?
They are, of course. Yeah, you could still do that.
And what about now? Is that the only way we do it, or is the market, as real estate has evolved as an industry, do we have more choices?
Yeah, we have, and it was really spurred along with this company called Open Door. They started doing this. If you're not into real estate, you may not know what an iBuyer is, but these guys, they will buy your house. They'll let you set a closing date. They provide a lot of convenience. They don't pay you, what we think is top dollar, but they trade money for convenience, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. So that's become popular.
Like if I'm moving from, you mentioned Boston, or let's say we were moving from Denver. We were in Colorado and Denver last week, which is why we didn't have calls with Paul. And I was moving from Denver, and I just needed to get my house sold because I got to get my kids back in school. We got to rock and roll. We got to rock and roll.
We don't have time to fool with this. So the trade of making the most money versus just getting it done quickly and having certainty is where, like Open Door, Zillow has jumped into the game. There's a lot of brokerages that have jumped in, offering a iBuyer kind of platform. I think Keller Williams has one. Like a lot of companies have it out there, but the trade-off is convenience for money. And then of course, am I allowed to get into the next stuff now?
Well, no, let's talk a little bit about, okay, so convenience for money, just to kind of add that. There's fees involved, and a lot of times people are choosing some of these iBuyers, not just for the convenience, but also because they think it's cheaper. What does someone expect to pay for an iBuyer? And again, we think this is a viable solution for some people. We're not saying it's a terrible thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's good to have options. The fees on iBuyers tend to be anywhere from 7 to 10%, depending on the risk level of the house or how they view that. And then they come in and they really assess the home, and they'll come up with repairs that they want to assess on top of that.
What's the price on that compared to like a regular realtor fee?
Well, we charge 6% to sell a home.
Not you. You don't charge 6%.
Well, I don't, but we charge a total of 6%. 3 goes to a buyer agent, and 3 goes to us.
So it's a total of 6%.
Yeah, it's a total
but
of
your
6%.
listing agent is usually going to keep about 3% of that, and then you usually incentivize the buyer's agent for their time and effort by paying 3% of that.
Exactly.
It's for a total of 6.
Total of
I just don't
6.
want people to think you were keeping all 6%.
Right. And
You're worth it. You're worth it.
I think we ought to charge 7. Some people are doing that,
Yeah.
but I'm not there yet.
So anyway, so the iBuyers tend to charge 7 to 10%. You get the pro is the convenience and the certainty. What's the con of that?
The con is that like you'll never really know how the market would have responded to your home. Like that's and especially in an up market like this in high demand like it is. The other con is they're really only doing it for homes under $500,000. For Austin, that really cuts out a large segment of our housing stock.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it yet. But.
And I think the other thing just to keep in mind is, again, I'm not naysaying the idea of the iBuyer because I think there's definitely a time and a place for that. But I think people need to realize that these companies are not charities. They're doing it to make money. And so they are going to have to make money somewhere. And usually they're going to make money because they're going to offer you either right at or below market so that they have a margin to then go in and make the repairs, and they turn around and sell it, and they're going to sell it for profit. And if they can't make money on it, then it doesn't make business sense for them to buy it. So if they could have bought it and make the repairs and make more money, my question would be, if you don't have this issue of convenience and time in mind, why not pocket that profit yourself?
Yeah.
And so they're doing it to make a profit, and on top of that, they're charging fees and things that also help cover that cost, and they're making money on it.
Well, I think there's other ways to have convenience and profit. I think we can help people get their cake and eat it too.
Okay, so that's the second
time.
new choice.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one. Cake and eat it too. I like that.
So Compass came out. If you've been following us at all, you probably know about our concierge program where we will help you fix up your home, stage it, paint it, whatever needs to happen to help you make the most money possible. We'll pay for that, and then let you pay those proceeds back when you close. And we've also added to the mix very recently something called bridge loans, where what we can do is we'll take the equity from your existing house and we put that down on your next house. And so that allows you to be able to purchase a house without selling yours or making a contingent offer, which is really a huge thing for people buying.
Yeah, so this is really cool. So you can basically do what the iBuyers are doing. You can use concierge to do any kind of fix up. And in fact, we're using that for one of your listings that's coming up now. It's an older home, an estate, needs to be modernized. It hasn't been updated in a long time. And so it's going to get a brand new kitchen and it's going to get brand new floors. And all of a sudden, the profit that an iBuyer would have absorbed by doing that themselves and reselling it, your client's going to get to keep that profit and make that money.
You might as well flip your own home.
And the cool thing about concierge is they're not having to come out of pocket for that, right? So if you've got enough equity in the home, concierge, you're not paying any money. You can even get a credit card to pay for stuff. And then all you do is it comes out of your proceeds at closing. So you're not feeling the pain, if you will, of having to carry that.
Like these folks, they have enough cash to just do it if they want to, but they chose not to because they didn't want to disturb their investments and where their other money is. They just want it to be clean and easy.
That's great.
And if we're not charging any fees or interest, like
then why not?
Like why wouldn't you take free money?
And the bridge loan piece, the second piece of that, I think is really cool because all those things that I was sort of pulling my hair out at the beginning about how am I going to afford a down payment and how I got to have this contingent offer and that makes me competing for multiple offers more challenging and I have to move 3 times. The cool thing about this bridge loan is it's ideal, I think, for people whose money is tied up in the equity of their house, so you can use that bridge loan and help pay for your down payment. If you have to move within a specific time frame and you can't wait for your original house to sell, this is another great way to bridge that gap. If you don't want to have to make that contingent offer, or if you think you do need to move out and you want to make updates and you can't live there while you're making the updates, this is another way of kind of fast tracking that and making it easier for you to accomplish. It's
This-
really a beautiful tool.
This way you get the convenience and you get all the upside of your house.
You get the convenience of
Yep.
the iBuyer, and you get to put the money in your pocket at the end.
Right. Instead of letting open door keep it and stuff. But it does take a little more effort. Like, we're going to want to check in with you and make sure we're doing the right things and that we're all in agreement.
But a lot of people might think, oh, I don't want to hassle with that. But that's one of the things that we can come in and do. In some ways, the concierge piece is we're not necessarily running the project, but we can connect you with people that can help you run the project. Or if you wanted us to, I love picking out paint colors and tiles and
Yeah, I'm okay
countertops.
skipping that part.
I know you are. Well, and they probably want you to skip that
They
part.
probably do.
So anyway,
Your son has it.
Ellis has a question. What question do
You want to
have?
come over here and ask?
Can you sum this?
Yeah, come on in here, buddy.
Can you sum this up late? Can you sum this up because it's kind of hard for my mind to process.
Yeah, so basically we're saying we have a better solution than the iBuyer program where people give up money. Instead, with us, you can keep all your money and get your move on.
So you're saying that what you're doing is cheaper, but it still helps you
It's less
because
expensive.
it
than
gets
people
more
make.
buyers?
It helps me because we get to help more people. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. The 9-year-old version. The 9-year-old version, if we were to boil it down at its simplest, is you don't have to be caught in that chunky middle anymore.
Right.
If you're wanting to make a move and
Do
you're
it.
feeling bothered by the Austin market's low inventory, you can start making your offer more exciting. You don't have to worry about the contingent offers. You don't have to worry about moving multiple times. You can use concierge to update your house. Maximize your profit on your sale, and then you can use the bridge loan piece, and these are both exclusive to
Yeah.
Compass. Other companies are offering some things, but they're charging for it. These don't have fees associated with them. So you could use bridge loans to get from your current house and either move down or move up without having to have that liquid equity right away.
We can just go ahead and start focusing right away on where you're going, secure that property,
And talk about the deferred payment.
and then fix up your old house. So Compass has a really neat relationship with a company called Notable, and what they'll do is they'll allow you to defer 6 months of your payments, so that what ends up happening is it becomes you've got to pay for all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you can skip 6 months in payments while we get your home sold for you, well, that's a pretty cool thing.
Someone's making sure he's positioned right in the middle.
Yeah, that's the dog.
That's our alarm bell, folks.
Yeah, I guess we're done now.
That brings us to the end of this episode, whatever it was, of Calls with Paul. We will be back next week. If you're curious, like if you're really wondering what these programs might look like for you, if you're wondering what you could sell your home for, if you're curious about what the market's doing, we're happy to run. We're happy to run those kinds of numbers. And get you that data,
Yep.
And then of course when you start marketing, I'm happy to make all the marketing magic happen.
This stuff is
get you
fun
the best
for me.
price.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
Any last thoughts, Ellis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get your flu shot.
double dap. Yeah.
All right. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Thanks.
Did we do well?